Hey everybody, today I want to talk about triggers. For those of you who don't know, a trigger is something that triggers your mental illness, your depression, your anxiety. So, over the past few years, I've gotten pretty good at realizing what my triggers are. And I know that if I'm in these situations, if I'm talking about certain things, it's going to put me in a bad mood. It's going to make me upset, angry. I've talked about on other videos seasonal depression. So the bad weather can trigger it. So the thing that works for me is trying to pinpoint those triggers, and when they come up, being aware that, okay, this is something that's going to happen. For me, a lot of times when I have one of these triggers, it'll happen later on. Later on, I'll be in a bad mood. I'll be very cranky. I'll be very upset. So, pinpointing the triggers and then being aware of them is something that really helps for me. Talking about it also. So, recently, I really started listening to audiobooks. I love to read, and audiobooks are really good for me because I like to listen to them at night when I'm getting ready for my night snack. A lot of times we'll have fruit if I'm cutting up the fruit. So I listen to the audiobook. And I was listening to this book recently, and something happened in the book, and I did not realize that would trigger my depression. And I had to stop listening to the book, and I cried. I just was sobbing, and I tried to work through it. I took deep breaths, and I talked to my best friend Alyssa about it, and she helped me work through it. And after a few minutes, I was okay. Talking about it, taking deep breaths, acknowledging it, that's what helped me get through it. And it was maybe 10-15 minutes that I was really, really upset and crying. And then I moved on, and I was able to have a good time after that. So that's pinpointing it. So now I know that scenario that happened in the book can trigger me. So if I'm listening to or reading something and it seems like something like that is going to happen, I can be aware of it, and I can, if I need to, take a pause and pick up the next day, or I can keep going on and be aware and work through it. Another thing that I've found helpful, I've seen it mentioned for anxiety, but it also has helped me if I'm having flare-ups of depression, is I don't know what they call it, but like the 5 senses. So you focus on something right immediately that you can see, hear, taste, smell, and feel. And it grounds you and brings you back to the present. So I've used that a few times, and it helps to take me out of the moment and take me out of that sadness. So I know for a lot of people, myself included, the holiday season can be a trigger. It can bring up painful memories. It can bring up, you could be missing someone that's gone. And I know that that's always going to be there. But again, just be aware of the triggers and try and focus on the positive. I get down at the holiday season sometimes, and I tell myself, rather than thinking of everything I don't have, the people I don't have, the painful, memories and things like that, I focus on the positive. The good holiday memories, the people I have in my life now that I know that support me and are there for me. And I try to just be grateful. I try to think of every day something to be grateful for, and I try to focus on the positive. It can be very hard sometimes, but that's the best way I know how to cope with it. I have done a lot of self-work over the last years, and these are things that have helped me. I know that some people, that's not enough. They maybe need to talk to a therapist or some medication. I am not at that point in my life. I'm not saying I would never be. If I find that I can't cope, I would talk to a therapist. I would be open to taking medication, but right now I find that the natural remedies and talking through it and going for walks and happy light, vitamins, eating healthy, these are the things that help me. This is my personal experience. Obviously, everyone has to figure that out for themselves. You have to figure out what works best for you. And again, another thing that has really helped me is pinpointing those triggers, being aware of them, and then being on guard when I have one of those triggers. Being on guard that, okay, this is something that upsets me, so I could be in a bad mood. I could be sad. And a lot of times for me, my depression also manifests in anger. I lash out at people, I get angry. And then that's worse, because then I get upset for getting angry and being nasty with people. So when I'm aware of the trigger, then I can work through it and, move on and do better. So I hope everyone is staying safe this holiday season, and I hope that you can figure out your triggers and try and work through them. Have a good holiday season and stay safe and be kind.